Hello everyone and welcome back to another Getting Stuff Painted, my bi-weekly update, give or take, on the various miniatures that I've been painting up for the games we cover here on the channel. And as you can see, there is quite a lot to choose from this week, and once again the Gotham City Chronicles stuff is actually encroaching on my area up there in the top left. That's those miniatures in case you're curious. But we've got some official and some not official Marvel Crisis Protocol. We have some Gotham City Chronicles that should be here, not the stuff in the top left of the frame. We have a tiny bit of Fallout Wasteland Warfare, including some scenery, and then a whole heap of chunk of the Batman themed starter set for 3rd edition Batman miniature game. Been really just getting my head down, getting that done, and have finished over half of it. So we're going to cover all that, going from left to right, as always, mostly like 99% done in contrast paint. And with that, yeah, let's get started, in between throwing balls for the dog. So let's start with the unofficial Marvel Crisis Protocol. This is a 3D print of Jane Foster Mighty Thor. I found it on eBay for about, I think it was £7 or £8. And if you haven't seen before, because I've got a few like third-party 3D print Crisis Protocol minis. My stance on them are, if I have the official ones, if I paid for the official ones, there's nothing morally incorrect about also getting an alternative 3D sculpt. That's my personal stance. Obviously you can have a different one if you wish. But this is an alternative Thor sculpt, basically, but it's Jane Foster as Thor. And the quality of alternative 3D sculpts for Crisis Protocol has vastly increased since the last time I showed one of these off. Like the custom print Venom I've got, or the Captain America holding Mjolnir that's not quite to scale. The scale is definitely getting better, and that's the most important part for like the OCD among us. Like, they've got to look the right size. In this case, I think she's actually slightly too tall, but she's meant to be an Asgardian, and they're, when they are in the comics, they're much larger than people. They're like 8 or 9 foot, so, you know. Either way, another nice thing about 3D prints is it lets you experiment with painting stuff that might otherwise you wouldn't want to do on an official miniature, because it might not work that well. So I tried to do a channeling lightning through her type effect, sort of used the same kind of principle I did for lightsaber glow on some Legion miniatures that was shown off in the series. So that wasn't contrast paint, that was a mixture of Calgar blue and Ultramarines blue on over everything once it was done. But in terms of the contrast paint, Blood Angels red for the cape, Yandin yellow for her blonde hair, Flesh Terror red for the, I'm not quite sure what that's called, but those bits of her costume, Ultramarines blue contrast paint for the under armour, some Lead Belcher silver on top, and some Aggressor shade over the top as well. And Snakebite leather for the handle of the hammer. If I had a finer detail and a less shaky hand, I would have made the like cracks on the hammer look more accurate to the Love and Thunder film, but either way, I really liked the pose and the quality of the model in the listing I found, and I was not disappointed when it arrived. I also picked up a couple more that are much more ambitious than this, so I'm not sure when I'll be tackling those, but we'll see. And yeah, I just really like how it looks. And with an alternative Thor, that means we can do Asgard versus Asgard lists, because we have 2 representations of Thor. I'm sure eventually Mighty Thor will be represented on the table, but for now, that's a good enough exchange. So we also have the new Asgard units. We have Heimdall and Scourge, who I mentioned during the unboxing I didn't really like their official paint jobs, even though they were comic book accurate. I preferred the art on the cards. I fell somewhere in between for both of them. So for Scourge, the only thing I did different was I toned down the colours from his official paint job. It's a lighter blue and a more yellow in the official paint job. So instead I used Ultramarines blue and Snakebite leather, brought them down again with a wash over the top. Aggressor, no oil in this case. And that is Volupus pink on his symbol there, because that seems to be the only thing that's in common amongst all the art. He's on like 3 or 4 tactics cards, and his armor looks different colors in each of them, for the record. Some Lead Belcher silver for his big axe as well. Not too much to talk about on him, he was pretty plain and normal. Oh, that is a Skeleton Horde on the little ruffles of his feathers there. Hopefully that was in focus. I think it was. It's a bit early in the morning, so don't judge me too harshly if it wasn't. Heimdall was much more fun. If you're a member on my YouTube channel or a supporter on Patreon, you'll know I painted up these rainbow bridge parts while they were still on the sprue. So I'm not going to talk about them too much. It's just a mixture of contrast, the colours I've been talking about. Blood Angels red, Gryph-hound yellow, orange, Yandin yellow, Warp Lightning, Talisar Blue and Childish Purple, in that order, following the same colour theme across everywhere. For Heimdall himself, it's mostly Nazrag Yellow to create his golden armour. Again, I copied the official paint job a bit, but I missed out some of the red parts that I didn't like the centre of his helmet. Didn't like how that looked, so I kept it pure gold. But that is Blood Angel's red on there as well. And there is some Skeletal Horde on his leggings. And I used Fire Slayer's flesh for his skin tone, which is, if you're wanting a lighter kind of brown skin tone, that's what you use. If you want a dark brown skin tone, I would say Wildwood is probably your best bet. But yeah, I really like this model, and it would have been absolute murder to try and paint with everything assembled with the Bifrost parts around him. But the finished effect is just lovely. Like, I really like this official miniature. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see how he does on the table. So that is some more snakebite leather on his tassels there as well. So yeah, all three of them will probably be seen very, very soon. So next, these two have already appeared in a Gotham City Chronicles video. Ratcatcher, as he is represented by in the game, and Azrael as well in one of his comic book costumes. So we've already seen these, but just real quick to talk about what I did with them. I used Krellin Green for his jumpsuit, and I'm mentioning it now, but I've actually used it a ton this week because all those cops down there have also been used in a Krellin Green. It's a lovely, almost green blue that just fits a lot of purposes, and it is a very nice mixtured contrast paint. I've never had any issues with it. So that's what I've used for his jumpsuit. Flesh Terror Red for his gloves, his boots. That's just Aggressor shade over base coat of Grey Seer for his light blonde hair, and some Wildwood and Snakebite Leather for the rats he's on, and Basilicanum Grey for the base. For Azrael, Blood Angel's Red, Nazrag Yellow, and a little bit of Gryph-hound Orange for the flame on his flaming sword. That's almost literally it. A little bit of black for his belts as well. Super simple model, not 100% keen on the poses in. But it's a little awkward. It was also a little awkward to get under his cape and whatnot because these come pre-assembled, so you don't really have a choice. But it turned out okay, and a non-oil wash over the top as well to add definition. Yes, I see you down there, dog. I see you getting impatient. Fine. We shall very quickly put Azrael away now that we've shown him off. And we're going to quickly cover Fallout Wasteland Warfare before the big chunk of Batman stuff, because this is super simple. I thought I was only going to talk about Grognak the Barbarian, but I finished the scenery there real quick. So yeah, this is Grognak the Barbarian, who has stats that he can use in the game. Please be in focus, sir. He's probably moving too fast for our normal eyes to keep up with. There we go. A lot of Guilliman flesh on him with a little bit of Basilicanum Grey, Leadbelcher Silver, and a Yandin Yellow for his hair. And the base is Snakebite Leather as well. Very simple model. He is actually going to be in Season 2 of my Wasteland Warfare Settlement Mode series. Not in the capacity you might think, but he has stats, he has a model, and I've thought of a fun way to sort of include him. So look forward to that. The first draft of the second season is done incidentally. I'm just going to give it one more once over, and I'll probably film the episode bridging Season 1 and Season 2 to premiere before the end of the month. That's the plan anyway. So as a matter of note, more 3D printed, in fact I've got a bunch here. They're based and not done yet there. Just got a ton of them on Etsy for like £5. Slowly working my way through painting them. Decided to paint these up like the radioactive barrels from any Fallout game really, but they can be used in anything obviously, but I usually just paint them in Flesh Terror Red, but every so often I'm painting them up like that because in Wasteland Warfare they actually have stats. Like if you go near them you'll get irradiated. So yeah, finished up a bunch more, didn't paint the base, but as a matter of note, that is another thing for the pile. So if you include the Batman and Catwoman from last time, everything up till this point, right here, is the rest of the Batman crew side of that starter box, which I actually still have next to me, but I don't really want to, there's not enough room to push it onto camera. The box itself is right here. So got that painted up over the last week and a bit, and it went quite smoothly honestly, and didn't have any issues with the assembly. Let's start with the pre-order bonus miniature, the Drifter, Bruce Wayne when he's not Batman, although he looks like a mixture between Leon S. Kennedy and Tom DeLonge. But either way, let's try and get that in focus. That is Militarum Green for his hoodie, Basilicanum Grey for his jeans, just plain Guilliman flesh, and Black Templar for his face, skin tone and hair. Basilicanum Grey for the base as well, and I think a tiny bit of Blood Angel's Red for the destroyed cup on there. It's super simple. He's not meant to be anything special. He is hiding, somehow managing to hide his Batman armor in his backpack, which always bugged me from the movie. Like, how is he carrying that heavy bulletproof armor around in a tiny backpack like that? That doesn't make any sense. Thankfully, he only does that like once. But either way, this is Chief Mackenzie. Like, there's 3 M names. Mackenzie Melendez? Is it? What's his name? The other guy. I'm never going to get them. And then there's a third one that I always forget. But this is the chief. This is the sidekick that comes in the box. The slightly corrupt chief of police, who I'm not entirely sure is in focus. No, I still don't think he's in focus. Well, there. Hopefully in focus there. So he's dressed in a proper uniform, not like a jacket like the rest of them. So I made him how I usually did the cops for Batman Crew, just Ultramarines contrast with a wash over the top, Gilman flesh for all the skin tones with the exception of Commissioner Gordon, for obvious reasons. And a little bit of Nazrag yellow for his badge, his chevrons, and badge on the front of his cap that he's got under his arm there. The dog really wants me to throw a ball. Pardon me, one moment. Okay, one throw later. Let's do Commissioner Gordon first and then the grunts. So obviously, did not use Gilman flesh for him. I used the Fire Slayer that I talked about for Heimdall. Double applied it though to make it a little bit darker tone. Ultramarines blue for his jacket, Basilicum grey for his suit underneath. That's just the base coat for his white shirt with non-oil over the top to give it definition. Flesh tear red for the carpet, and snakebite leather for the wood. No human holds a torch like that. No human in existence, especially not a cop. They hold it kind of like overhead like that. I've never seen anyone hold it like that. That's just strange. I'm not sure. Like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't do that in the movie. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he holds it like a normal human being. But either way. So then we have our 3 cops, one of which is the named cop that kind of helps Batman a couple of times. I don't remember their names because they're all too similar. It's like 3 M names for him and the corrupt cop as detective as well. So I painted all these basically the same because they are just 3 cheap and cheerful hired goons for the Batman Crew, or any Batman crew. So I'll talk about all of them while I'm trying desperately to get in focus shots of them. Acrylene green is the main colour I used for their uniforms. Black Templar for their belts, belt buckles, holsters, the rim of their caps. Gilman flesh for their skin tones. Black Templar for their nightsticks as well in this case. So actually, he was Fire Slayer flesh as well. I forgot about that. Their undershirts are Talistar blue. Ties are also Krellin green. And Nazrag yellow for their badges and whatnot. Same as with the Chief. Basilicum grey for all the bases, although I use Storm Vermin fur to kind of touch them up a little bit now because I don't like the streakiness of them. I think that looks better. Could be wrong. And then I think, is he Martinez? I think it was Martinez, Officer Martinez. The one who doesn't like Batman at the start but then accidentally sort of kind of helps him at the end by telling Batman what a carpet puller looks like. Either way, exact same paint job for him as well. Tried to pick out his mustache, kind of worked, kinda. I think I painted him first of the 3 and I'm happiest with how he turned out of them. I feel like the Krellin green just kind of hit the right places to create a nice difference between shadow and light on the like seams of his trousers, for instance. Yeah, turned out well. One throw later. The last of the Batman side, the mounted police officer who has no place in this list really. No official paint job either, so very much winging it with the oval size bases that night models do that I despise. I can't stand these bases. They have no definition, no detail, nothing to pick out. Yeah, you can sort of make it look like a road, but it's a horse. I guess you could do texture over it like grass or sand or stone, but I hate these oval bases so much. Anyway, Wildwood for the horse itself, snakebite leather for the harness and whatnot, black for the mane and the tail. Basically the same colours used for the rider himself as the cops I was talking about. At a distance I think it turned out not too bad. If you get a bit too close you kind of see the streakiness of the contrast around the rump and whatever part of the body this is on a horse. But from a distance not too bad. The rider I actually think looks worse than the horse from this kind of range, which is not what you aim for obviously. But he is at a bit of an awkward angle, and assembling this was also kind of annoying. Like the seat is not on right. I don't know if that is that made out. I think you can make that out. Like it is not on right, but it was the only way to make this part match up to the bit in his mouth. So it was either have that not attached, which looks weird, but have him correctly in the seat, or do what I did, have it correctly attached to the bit, but then his chair is slightly floating. So, you know, best of both, or worst of both worlds, best of both worlds. Either way, that's the cop side of the box, absolutely done. So last but not least is my start at the organised crime half of the starter set. After this, still got the twins to do, still got the Penguin, Falcone, and almost done with the Mafia Thug. These are bouncers 1 to 3, I have no idea which is which, and the crooked detective that gets his nose broken in the movie, whose name also begins with M, I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember what it is. So I use pretty much the same colours for him as the cops, because he is a cop, or more copied Gordon, because they're both like detective level. Grey shirt, grey pants, acrylic green for his jacket, ultramarine blue for the bag of money he's holding, or maybe that's the bag with the lady's body. No, that's not fitting there. That's money. He's holding money. He's grey haired, he's got a grey mustache. Tried to pick them out, didn't really do that well with him. Not that happy with how that one turned out. The bouncers though I'm kind of happy with. Copied their official paint jobs, because these ones have official paint jobs. This is Talisar blue for this guy's suit, snakebite leather for his, as the dog is about to bark at someone, for his baseball bat with some blood for the blood god splattered on it because he's been taking swings at somebody. Guilliman flesh as well. This one kind of looks like aging Bruce Willis to me a little bit. And his undershirt is Aethermatic blue for that one. What are you crying at? Go back to pestering me to throw a ball. I'm almost done. I've got 2 miniatures left to talk about. Just 2. Only 2. This was my attempt at copying a pinstripe suit, and it kind of worked. This is the happiest I've ever been with the attempt, because I just do not have the steady hand or the fine detail to do this kind of stuff normally. But the way I did it was, did his suit in grey, and then I took the grey Sear base coat, tried to apply it as thinly as possible, re-thinned the lines down by applying more grey on top where necessary, and then went over the thing with non-oil to tone down the colour of the stripes, and it kind of worked. It's the closest I'll ever get to doing a decent pinstripe suit, I think. Kind of happy with it. I made his teeth look a bit too white, but hey, maybe he's had some dental done on hired goon pay. And his shirt is Gene Sailor purple, because the Shilish was too dark. And then finally, yes finally, this is the last one, dog. This is just the Bruiser bouncer. He's got a knuckle duster. Snakebite leather for his suit, and Volupus pink for his shirt. Guilliman flesh and silver for the brass knuckles themselves. Cheap and cheerful, just they're there for beating up cops more or less. So I'm not sure when I'm going to edit this in, but the dog started barking mid-outro, so here's a second take just to mention what will be showing up next time. Oh, and also, if you have anything you want to show me that you've been painting, feel free to do so on Twitter. The link is in the description box below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please do consider becoming a member, supporting on Patreon, or going above and beyond and pressing the thanks button on any of my videos. That would be greatly appreciated. But we'll see some more Gotham City Chronicles, because I need to paint up some miniatures for some missions I want to do. Hopefully the rest of the organised crime side of the box, although I still need to find printable versions of the cards for all the characters that come in that box, otherwise I can't use any of them. So that's a thing. Beyond that though, so hopefully get through those other 3D printed Crisis Protocol alternative sculpts that I was talking about, although I'm not in a rush to tackle the other 2 I have because they're big. But other than that, I'm not sure. Can't think of anything else to include offhand. There is still some more Wasteland Warfare to work through, but I'm mostly now focused on just prepping that second season, making sure everything is ready. So that is going to do it for this painting update. I hope it inspires you to get off your bottom and paint your grey pile of shame. It's fun, it's relaxing, and it doesn't matter how good you are at it as long as you enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in roughly 2 weeks for another update. Until then, ta-ta for now.